Hey, what's up, everybody? Mogi Monster here, and welcome to Why the Fascination, or WTF as I like to call it. Great to see everybody in chat already. Hope everybody's having a great night. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I just had to, I caught the tail end of a dog fight. I sat down here, and all of a sudden I heard a commotion in the house, and there's a new dog in the house. He's a puppy. And I guess they all got bottlenecked. There's a couple dogs in there, and my dog and that puppy went at it for a little bit. Nobody got hurt, no blood, no nothing, but just I just opened a door, grabbed her, and brought her outside with me for a minute, separated them, and they'll be all right. It's funny because I've watched my dog like push her around, like use her weight. Not hackles didn't even go up, but she would kind of set that dog straight. So what's up, everybody? Good to see you, Mr. Lee. How's it going? Emma, how are you, hon? Stevie B, Rex Hand. Hey, Val. Jamie Cotterill. What's up, man? Fly by Stu. Who else? Hey, Joe, Western New York Bigfoot Investigation Group. Richie. What's up, buddy? Angel Nolan. Welcome. Tracy Benna. What's up? So, yeah, it's good to see everybody. If I missed anybody, Mr. Hugh, I see you. I apologize. I know I'm probably blowing by a few. Hey, Jimbo, what's up, buddy? We gotta talk soon. Who else? Oh, Mogs is in chat. Check that out. Right on. Get down to the bottom and start over. Stacy Perez. Hey. Great to see you. Blast from the past. Catherine, how are you? I think I'm good. And I'll try to catch you as you come in. So if you're new here, welcome. If you're not, you know how this goes. Could go anywhere. What I do is I post a link in chat, and you can click on that link and join me and talk about basically whatever you want to talk about. It's a Bigfoot community or paranormal community, so we kind of try to lean that way because that's why I'm here. Is like why the fascination is what brings you here. What story do you have that you're not telling? Because everybody has a story. Or you're just that fascinated, So I'll post a link in chat. You can click on the link, follow the directions, and come on. If you don't want to be on camera, you can just hit stop camera. And that's what you get. And also, if you do come on, I ask that you turn off YouTube in the background. This way we don't have that nasty echo. It's pretty easy. I know some people we won't name names. Mr. Lee. Don't like being on camera. They just, I get it. He doesn't, he's got, hey, Brandy. Johnny Half, what's up? He's got stage fright. That's what I was looking for. Who else? Kelly, how are you? Or should I say good day? I think we got everybody covered. So what I will do is I will post the link in chat, and in your hands now. So you guys create this show. I just provide the platform. I usually don't come up with topics. I leave it up to you. usually it works out. So that's how we do it. Hey, Sharon, how are you? Mr. Lee, 3PO, do you need a step ladder to reach him? Are you saying he's short or the other person's tall? So I hope everybody is safe within. I can hear my voice. Some nasty storms came through the Gulf Coast states, Mississippi. Man, you guys got walloped. That's a lot of flooding. Um, whoever's affected, prayers. I hope, you guys are okay. We got some friends down there, Mississippi, Louisiana. So yeah, I hope you guys are good. Hey, chessboard. What's up, buddy? So the other guy's that tall. Okay, just checking. Do Sasquatch find humor in bathroom humor? AG5. I bet they do. I think fart humor, you know, transgresses all, you ever see a dog scare himself when he farts? I wonder if he laughs at himself later, like, you dumbass. What do we got going on in chat? Baby Yoda. Hey, Bell Prepper, how are you? For those of you who don't know, Bell Prepper was my first moderator. It's been shit. It's over 2 years now. Shit, I don't know when we started this shit. And I was thinking about that, guys. I might take a break for a little bit, just take a week or two off, I have been doing this nonstop. I missed 2 shows and however long we've been doing this, 200 and something shows. I might take a break soon. Just take a week or two off. I say that now, but I'll be somewhere in the woods looking for a signal, trying to go live. Oh man, Pine Island Research, what's up? All right, so the link is in chat. Anybody wants to click on? There you go. Mr. Lee says, Mogs, it has been over 2 years. Yeah, it's been over 2 years, man. I just don't know how much over 2 years. Anita, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Hey, My Eyes. Damn, 2 years. Over 2 years. It's funny. I never thought to take a break. I don't know if I could. I usually find a signal, or I'll broadcast from a hotel room, or you've seen what I'll do. I wish I had a signal up on the rim, or so do a few other people. But I would have loved to broadcast from there live. That would have been cool. BPD, what's up, Ben? Great to see you. Yeah, Joe, farts are funny. I don't care who you are. Laura Fields, how are you? Welcome. She just walked into fart jokes. Wow. Sorry. She's like, where am I? What's that smell? Oh, boy. The Howler. What's up? So, yeah, guys. Mr. Vaughn, what's up, buddy? I'm just going to keep flooding the chat. Spamming the chat. My own chat. Is it spamming my own chat? Yeah. The link. So, someone's going to push it. Space Traveled. What's up? Can't be hard to produce this show. You just click a link. The stress must be overwhelming. It's not hard to produce this show. Not at all. Never claimed it was. I enjoy the fact that it's not hard to produce this show. Work smarter, not harder. So, Mike, you Mogs, you have GSDs, don't you? GSDs. Little help? Anybody? Anybody? GSDs. German Shepherd dogs. I have one dog that's... I'm not sure what she is. She looks like a German Shepherd. I'm assuming that's what that stands for. Jeff at Pine Island Research says Mose doesn't even take bathroom breaks. He keeps an empty Gatorade bottle under the cam. Hashtag dedication. I'll give away my secrets. I think he's got a Gatorade bottle too. Yep, Maya is a shepherd. Mogs, we had some hail here a few weeks ago, softball size. Damn. Yeah, then the dents in my truck would be a little bit bigger. Damn, softball size hail. It sucked getting hit with this shit. It was worse. It's like, oh, damn. And this was about an inch and a half across. And that hurt. Softball, only takes one. You're done. Who else? Oh, they're talking sweets. Compose yourself. Toaster strudel. Derek McManus, how are you? How's everything on the Emerald Isle? Who else? So yeah, guys. Hey, Nikki, what's up? Link is in chat. How far from Yuma? I don't know. Tell you right now. Let's find out, shall we? All right. Have a great show. Oh, thanks, Stevie. How far is Cottonwood, Arizona to Yuma, Arizona? I'm guessing it's around 200, 300 miles. 276 miles, 4 hours and 13 minutes. Never been there. Haven't been to Tucson either. Kind of stayed above Phoenix. So yeah, that's you heading to Yuma? Jimbo? Pretty crazy happenings at border there every night. No shit. Hold on. Right on. I'll give you the money in a minute. Yeah, no worries. I'm a drug dealer. Smokes. Hold on. Yeah, we're just going to have a bark fest. Oh, well. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm a dick. I'm just like I stuck my head out the window. I said, I'm on the air. Mokes, can we see new puppy? Hold on. Hey, where's... Bring your dog out here. What? Bring your dog out here. I want to show her on camera. Just bring her on the leash. Adorable puppy. Male. If it was a female dog, I'd name it Cleopatra. You'll see why in a second. Just because of the eyes. Mary Bernie, how are you? Good to see you. Reminds me of the Rocky Mountain Barking Hound. Mr. League, so excited. See if I can get him on my lap. Actually, I can move the camera too. Hey, Bubba, come here. Come on up here. Come on up here. Come here. Uh-oh. 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 Hold off the... Come here, Bubba. Rah! See, hi, who's that? It's like the dog's wearing eyeliner. Yeah, oh. Close that door a minute. It's just getting, there's a glare. Hey, what's this? Look over here. Who's this? It's like, I want out. I gotta put this leash back on. All right, little one. Say bye-bye. He's like, get the fuck off me. Don't ask what kind it is. I have no idea. What is it?
We don't really know what he is right now.
It's a mutt.
We're going to get a DNA test at some point.
I'd leave it a mystery. It's a pretty dog. He's. It's like, I swear to God, it's like he's wearing eyeliner. See? The dog's eyeliner is better than mine. I think it has some pit in it. It's a thin dog right now. It's tall. It's you know, it's growing. It's still a puppy. But smart dog. I haven't known it that long, but it's obviously a smart dog. Here, let me fix my backdrop. And everybody's seen my other two. Well, that one's not mine, but Maya and Lucy. I'm just Brian and Chew. You read my mind, man. Sugar Britches, how are you? All right, guys. Wow, it just got hot in here. Wrestling with that dog. Just Plus, drinking coffee doesn't help. I think I'm my own worst enemy. In the UK, we call a dog of unknown breed a basset, after Bassett's all sorts sweets. And I thought a basset hound was an actual breed, isn't it? We just call them mutts. Belle had a question. We're going to talk about food. It was funny. I was listening to Leslie on Cryptids Canada, her latest show. Pretty good. Go check it out. But she mentioned in the beginning about, did you ever lose a recipe? Something that you love to make, and then you lost a recipe, and no matter how many times you try, you can't get, the original. And she was in that situation, and she recently found the recipe again. So she created her dish. It was some sort of salmon dish with mayo, and there was a marinade, white wine and mayo marinade. But it was for salmon. But it's just funny because I was never one to collect recipes. I just cook on the fly. I don't bake. But as soon as I heard it, I was like, called my sister over. I said, "Hey, listen to this," because she could appreciate it. She's more into the recipes. Catch up, Stevie. What's wrong with you? Yes. What's funny is I know that cartoon, dude. Um, it's actually a Bugs Bunny from a Bugs Bunny cartoon. That if you haven't seen it, Chessboard did a video of where Jay Fritz's sunglasses went. And if I'm not mistaken, it was a Bugs Bunny cartoon that was from. And I think Bugs messes with the guy because he paints the glasses dark, so the guy doesn't realize it's daytime. And it was a good cartoon. It was like sort of like Elmer Fudd. Joe says, I like baking. Wait, we may not be talking. Oh, no, probably not. No. No. Kid, yeah, wake and bake is right. So, yeah, guys, what are we, 23 minutes in? I can't do 2 hours of this. Probably could, but who wants to hear me for 2 hours? That'd be scary. So I put the link in chat. Click on the link, join me. I'm sure you got something to say. Somebody does. See, Joe's got his apron on. That's what we'll just call it from now on. You got your apron on in the kitchen. Stevie says, I have my own recipes, but my family has the old world Italian recipes too. Where it was simple recipes, but really good ingredients. That was one thing that just knocked me off my socks was the food in Italy. There it's just food, it's not Italian food. Yeah, that was cool. Oh, wow, Mr. McManus. What's up, Derek?
Hello. How the hell are
Hey.
you, my friend?
Doing good. How you been? You keeping busy at work? I can't hear you.
Oh, very busy.
Yeah. It seems like there's a delay or something.
It seems to be lagging.
Yeah. Why don't you pop out and come back in? Try again. I don't know why we'd be lagging so much. It looks like I have a great signal tonight. Anita says, I'm just going to be watching. My eyes are a little fuzzy. Somebody like, you stoned? Let's try that again. Is there that much of a delay? Licorice, all sorts. So, what am I missing?
Somebody mentioned them earlier.
Oh, right on. Maybe it's lagging because he's in Ireland. Well, we've had him on how many times? I'm surprised he's not on speed dial. And we've never had a delay before like this.
No, last time I tried to come on, it was bad too.
It's just going slow. We're not deaf. It's like you're trying to talk to a foreigner. You slow down your speech and you get louder. You turn
You're
up
a
my
funny guy, Mugs.
Jamie says he's hiding his pot of gold. So yeah, I wish we could have a better conversation with a little more quicker response.
I'll turn it off and try again.
All right, it's all we can do. Sorry. Let's see. He's gonna have to click up. There he goes. Well, let's not. Leave him out there by himself. So here's the StreamYard link. If you want to join us, I'm sure he'll be back. Anybody ever wanted to talk to Derek? Now's the time. Just because he's in Ireland doesn't mean he has to yell across the ocean. It's kind of what I was getting at. See? Wow,
Hi.
Derek, you changed.
What
Is that a
happened?
wig? No. What's up, Suzanne?
Nothing. Just called to say hi.
Hi.
What are you talking about tonight?
Nobody's decided yet.
Oh, okay.
Don't come up with topics.
So how's the storms over there? Was there a storm?
Today we kind of got off easy. 2 days ago, oh my.
Yeah.
That was brutal. I mean, I've never seen hail like that in my life. That was just downright scary.
That's crazy. When it gets that big, it's crazy. I was driving in one that was the biggest one here, like in history. And when it first hit my windshield, I didn't know what happened. I thought I got shot or something. I was freaking out. Luckily, I was in a rental car because it got messed up. And when I got home, my front window, my big picture window was busted out completely.
Oh no.
Yeah, like because I live in a complex of townhomes, and all of our windows got busted out. But there was one old lady, she had just gotten all her windows redone, and she was just so happy. Like hers didn't even get messed up, but she was just walking around looking at everybody's windows that were messed up.
Yeah, this was.
And you know what? That storm is the reason why I got my FJ at like the price of a small car, because it
Hail
was
damage.
yeah. And I love that truck. I love my truck. It's the best truck I've ever had.
The FJs are pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it. They don't even make them no more.
You know what they call the diesel version?
What?
The BJ. True story.
Did you really? Oh,
True
cool.
story.
So I'm having a show tonight. I'm having a guest on the show tonight also, and he is a, I don't know what you'd call him. He's into plant medicine. He's a grower. He grows stuff, all kinds of stuff. Weed,
Oh, right.
and he's like, I'm not supposed to say it because it's kind of illegal, but like he like experiments with the mushrooms. So it should be fun because I didn't really have time to research as much as I should have. So luckily he knows his stuff.
Can you hear us, Derek?
Oh, I can definitely hear you.
Oh,
Hi,
and
Derek.
there's no lag. Good.
Cool.
Oh, I can hear you. Certainly can.
Awesome. What time is your show, Suzanne? Is that at 8:30?
8:30.
That's Central Time?
Yep. No, Mountain.
Oh,
Mountain Standard.
Pacific Time. Yeah, our time.
Yeah, and
Arizona time.
Of course, Gerald will be there, and then our guest will be there, and anyone can join in also if anyone has any info to tap in with. It's mostly going to be about plant medicine.
Okay.
Stuff that's like in our own backyard that we could be using. Ugh. I'm getting bit up by mosquitoes right here.
I feel
because my fountain is not on, and it probably grew mosquitoes over it. Yeah.
Just breeding skeeters.
Yeah, that's what we do here. But it's not so hot. It's like not even 100 right now, I don't think.
No, it wasn't that hot today. I think it hit 100 down there today, but it's in the 90s.
What is the temperature there, Derek? Is it cold?
No. What's your weather like, Derek?
No, we didn't have a bad day. We had rain in the afternoon. Started about 4:00, but it was pleasant enough.
Jesus, getting bit right there.
Oh, I thought they were carrying you off.
And they almost were.
Suzanne's short. She's tiny, so I could see her just getting lifted away.
Thank you,
but
Mr.
perfectly formed.
So were you saying, Derek? I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm just notoriously, I do that all the time.
I know you.
It's like if I don't get the thought out, it's going to die real quick of loneliness.
I'm the same way. I get excited too. That's why I do that too. But Stevie says, yeah, ayahuasca, we should be talking about that tonight. I want to try that. Anybody tried that?
Apparently Jamie might have.
You got to do it with like a shaman or something, or someone that's spiritual, I guess.
Guide. Yeah.
And Stevie was saying that she knows a grower, and that they're like, and I believe her, they're like geniuses. They've got so much innovation and like ideas in them. So that's why I'm having him on the show, because he's just amazing. I went to school with him, and we were all just like teenage dirtbags, and now we're like all like something. So it's turning out pretty cool.
Well, it's only the good die young.
Only the strong survive, though, too.
This is true. Grasshopper says ayahuasca is dangerous.
Oh, what? Tell me. Please tell us.
If only the good die young, why am I still here?
Oh, you'll live forever. I think you've embalmed yourself. See? Embalming. Stevie B says, yes, Suzanne, it's all scientific.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I want to try. I want to put my hand in there and try to grow.
And
But
Mr. Lee,
no,
3PO, it's about 30 odd years since you were a teenage dirtbag, son.
Yeah, it's been a while. Kaiju Ninja, what's up? Suzanne, I wonder if your guest has any Bigfoot stories and if you saw the Sasquatch documentary on Hulu.
maybe because he is from Flagstaff, and I know Jera has a Bigfoot story because her parents both saw Bigfoot.
Oh,
Because
really?
back in the day, we used to have to cut wood, go out wood cutting, and her dad would actually cut a lot of wood and sell it to the rest of the town. So he was out there a lot, and like I said before, the forests in northern Arizona are wild.
Yeah, they are. I know some of the forests up there, not all of them.
I truly believe that there is Sasquatch all around there. Because that's where I'd be if I was a Sasquatch, that's for sure.
It's great habitat up there.
Mm-hmm. And if I was like a UFO, I mean, if I was like an alien, I would also be in the forest too, because I'm pretty sure they're pretty conscious beings. So I would want to be somewhere where I could stay grounded, which would be the forest, right? So it's safe, hidden.
Makes sense. Jamie says ayahuasca is like acid. You don't want to do it alone. No one to relate with.
Yeah. Anybody do it? Has anybody done it?
Apparently, Jamie. Karen and Preston, how are you? Karen says Arizona is beautiful. I'm dry as a raisin, but I've been here all my life.
Oh, cool. I've been here all my life too. Well, I lived in Texas when I went to college the first time.
Well, right on. It's good to see some new names here. Hey, Jen, how are you? What else? How many we got? We got 70 watching. Right on.
Wow, that's cool.
Just checking. I'm just going to put that link again one more time.
I'm getting everything twice, Moggs. I'm going to bounce out and come back in again.
That means you have something, an extra microphone on or something. That's weird. We all know what Suzanne just mouthed.
Oh, did you see?
What the fuck? Yeah, I don't know why you would get an echo, Derek. Now, there's no echo. He'll be back.
So the ice cream man is honking his horn, if you guys can hear it.
What happened to playing music? I don't do that anymore.
I guess not.
Sure, he's not just picking up his girlfriend. Yeah. Because I hear the I don't think of the ice cream man when I hear the horn honking. Hey, Kim.
Oh, someone says I'm making him seasick because I'm swinging on my swing. Because I got this is my swing, my porch swing. I have to swing. That's my favorite thing to do. It's my favorite place
Mr. Lee said you're making him sick.
So, like, when I get weed at the dispensary, there's never any seeds in it. So how am I supposed to get some seeds to start trying to grow something?
You have to look for someone who sells seeds. There's places in California. There's places in Hawaii where you can purchase seeds from. I'm sure there's places all over, but I couldn't name off any, but
Probably Amazon, right?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll stop swinging everybody so you won't get sick.
Ben's like, I'm going to throw up. Grasshopper said, grew up taking all those drugs. It's not worth the time. I agree.
Me too. I grew up taking all those drugs too, but I never did ayahuasca. But I grew up with a bunch of, like, where I lived in Flagstaff, a lot of my friends were Native American, and they always had like peyote on hand. So that I've done that a few times.
How was that?
It's good. It's like really well, because I was always in a good mood. I'm like a happy person. Like I was always cheery with my friends. So like I never had any kind of bad trips.
All right, on. I think that's the one thing I would try is peyote, because I smoke weed.
Yeah.
I've done acid once. I did meth once. I did, I just never did heroin, never did crack, never, there were so many things I didn't do. And Dad was a cop, so you didn't fuck around.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
What's up, Ben?
What's up, man?
Is it better, Derek?
Oh, I didn't do that.
Bye, Ben.
Bye, Ben. Good seeing you. Thanks for popping in.
Nah, it's no good. Same old nonsense.
Pine Island says you can buy seeds online. I bought autoflower seeds online. Right on.
Ooh. I think gardening is therapeutic, so it should be fun.
So why does THC have to be labeled a drug then, Joe? Why can't it just be part of the plant? Why does it have to be a drug? Mr. Lee says, I did take a bad microdot once. That was wild.
Microdots. That's like acid, right?
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in a really small town. Flagstaff was really small when I was growing up, and so like there was not much else to do besides drugs.
Jamie says, Mogs, you have to pygmy shoot peyote. Whatever the... I didn't do that either.
I remember I drank it, actually. Is that a pygmy
Beanie
shoot?
Mogs. What's up, Joe?
Hey, man. No, it's because of the chemical. I mean, the chemical, the
THC,
it interacts with your brain in the way that a drug would. So, of course, it's labeled a drug. And it does have effects like certain drugs.
psychotropic, yeah, a little bit.
So, but no, I mean, Richie, all he said was cannabis is not a drug, and he's correct. Cannabis is a plant.
No, technically, but that's
Cannabis
just
is a plant. It's the THC. That's the drug. It's like I always wondered why caffeine was considered a drug, but it is. Same reasons why THC is considered a drug.
So Nikki said that's a huge lie, Susie. Lots of
About
clean
what?
fun in Flagstaff.
Oh, yeah, for her. I didn't think that stuff was fun.
So Karen I still haven't figured out where she's from.
She said Mayor, and I love Mayor too. I actually, my favorite place to go with my husband is that little Creekside Inn, Creekside Lodges or something. You get like a little cabin. Oh my God, that's my place.
Where does Mayor near? Is that
It's like smack dab in between. It's right by when you exit to go to Prescott. That.
okay?
So it's kind of like between. It's by Prescott, basically.
Never been there. There's a lot of places I haven't been in this state.
It's not really much there though. It's just like the smallest little town.
Sort of like what's on the hill over here, Cherry
Kind of like, you know what? There's a really good barbecue restaurant there. I can't
and
remember
Cherry
the name of it.
or in
No,
Mare.
and Mayor, yeah.
Pine Island says I did real peyote with a tribe in South Dakota and then sat in a sweat lodge for 4 hours. My legs didn't work for 2 days.
I've
Oh,
done
that's
peyote.
amazing.
To do
I
peyote in
I
a
did
sweat
sweat.
lodge?
No,
Yeah,
well,
I did
no,
sweat
I
lodge
didn't do
one
it in a sweat lodge with a bunch of Native Americans or anything, but
That's where I do it.
hey, it probably would have been better, but yeah, I did
They're
it.
probably, well, it says tribe in South Dakota,
Peyote's pretty bitter.
probably Lakota Sioux,
I threw up.
Yeah, I threw
Nakota.
up. I think you have to throw up for
Yeah,
it
Oh,
to start.
I'm sure you'd throw up. Oof.
So whenever I did mushrooms, we would eat it with a Cheeto. Like you get the mushroom and then you put the Cheeto and then you eat it.
So, wow. Pygmy shoot is when you pack a star with your powdered peyote and you sniff at one end while your buddy blows through the other end. How do you know you're done when it pops out your ears? Holy shit.
That's kind of like shotgunning it when you shotgun.
Yeah, it's more like a bazooka.
yeah.
Because I thought the same thing. I was like, sort of like a shotgun, but no, it's worse.
No, I liked shrooms when I was younger.
He says it hits you like activated charcoal after about an hour, so you have no choice but to throw up.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. There's another plant that's it's similar, and I can't say it's related. I have no idea, but there's another plant that's similar to peyote. It's called Datura, Datura, and yeah, it's another one that's a psychedelic. And
I'm picking up shit from chat. I saw that. I thought this, like, why are we talking about drugs? Just popped into my head, but they're natural drugs. We're talking,
plants.
Yeah.
Well, they say that psilocybin, the mushrooms, it helps people get off of drugs, for one, substance abuse. It helps people with anxiety, depression, headaches, migraines, and what the heck? And something else. There's like a lot that it does. So people, pretty soon, I think it'll come.
I believe there was a, I don't know if it was a university or someplace was using the mushrooms for terminally ill patients in order to prepare them for death.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Kind of cool. That's kind of cool. I'm all for that because I worked as a hospice nurse for over 20 years, so I'm all for any of that. Anything for those guys.
Karen says she's about 50 minutes from Cottonwood. Mr. Lee says, Karen, where the hell is Cottonwood? Cottonwood's about 20 miles from, or 20 minutes southwest of Sedona, Arizona.
Fun fact, Cottonwood is smack dab in the middle of Arizona. It's the exact middle point.
I looked at that on a map, and I kind of thought the same thing. I don't know if it's geographically, if it's exactly.
Yeah, there's actually a spot.
Pretty damn freaking close. Really?
I just watched some kind of video that mentioned Cottonwood. What video was that I was seeing? I don't know whether it was Mr. Ballin I was watching. It was some weird thing that happened there, but yeah, Cottonwood's right smack dab in the middle. It's like center state,
Derek says, drugs are not my thing, to be honest. They're not my thing either, Mr. Derek McManus.
Nah, I don't do
But again, you never know where the conversation's going to lead.
You never know.
Oh, sorry, Ben. I forgot to put the link after he bounced. He didn't mean to bounce, I'm sure. Skeeters.
Okay, well, I'm gonna pop off because I'm making tacos.
All right, on.
So
Enjoy.
I gotta feed my family before the show.
Bon appetit.
Okay, I'll see you later. Bye, guys.
Have a great show. So yeah, guys, you can find her show. It's the Authentic Happiness Show tonight at 8:30 Mountain Time or Pacific, whatever. Go check her out after this show. What's up, Jeff?
Hey,
How you been?
I'm hanging in there. How are you?
Hey, you're coming in a little weird.
Give me a second. Is it still weird?
No, you sound like you turned up your mic just now. I think.
That's a weird cow on your hat, though.
Yeah,
I know, right?
It's a weird cow. It's one of those Bigfoots that walk on four legs all the time.
All the time.
Oh, otherwise known as a bear.
Isn't the cowboy shop in Cottonwood? The cowboy shop. There was something like that in Cottonwood. Is that
The
cowboy?
cowboy shop sounds like a place that could be in a lot. Like maybe there's more than one of those
Yeah, no, it does. It's pretty.
common names.
Yeah. It's probably a gay bar called the Cowboy
I
Shop.
was just saying, it's probably a
I
gay
know
bar.
where you're going.
Probably a gay bar in Vegas or San Francisco.
Dude, if I saw a bar somewhere called the Cowboy Hat, I'd have to go in and have a beer.
The cowboy hat.
Yeah. I just have to go in and have a beer just to check it out. I mean,
Yeah, there's so much in a name that you don't know what to expect anymore. See a
can't
bar
believe
that's called Saddle Up. I'd be like, whoa, wait a minute, we better check that out first.
Oh,
can't
okay.
remember
Now
what
I know what
store
you're
it's in.
talking about. Kim says yes. Cowboy Shop is in the Safeway Plaza now.
Oh,
They were somewhere else, and I just thought they closed up. I didn't know they moved. Yeah, they've got some pretty cool stuff in there. Actually, I might go in there and get a new belt. These guys are coming up with some crazy ass names. Jen says puppy, monkey, baby.
oh yeah, that's from the Super Bowl commercial from a couple of years ago.
What's going on, Ben?
Yeah.
Try
Hey,
again.
what's up, man? What's up, Joe? What's up, Jeff?
Hey, Ben.
Yeah, I don't remember what state it's in, but there is a bar that I've never got to. I wanted to go to it because when I was all into my Scottish part of my heritage and stuff, and it's a bar called the Tilted Kilt,
Heard of it?
and I'm like, dude, I want to go there, but I never gone to the Tilted Kilt.
It's
Where
disappointing.
is it?
I don't remember what state it's in, but
Ben says it's disappointing.
It really is, bro. We had some over here. I mean, I went over there. It's really disappointing. It's like, these women that work for like minimum wage for not even minimum wage, but they're just working for tips and shit. And everybody, they all look depressed and shit. It's just not worth going.
Wow.
It's like a Hooters, but the women wear like plaid dresses and shit.
haha,
Yeah, and none of them look happy. None of them like their wages. I don't understand like why there's this whole anti-work thing going on.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I don't like my job, but fuck, I still go.
It's just, not. I understand that we typically try not to get political here, but
Mm-hmm.
we are just removing step by step any incentive to want to work. No, we're paying $10,000 of your student loans off now. It's just, at what point is somebody going to say it's worth? Because we've always wrestled with that, and I understand it's always been a serious issue. You get a single mom who's got maybe one or two kids.
Yeah.
The cost of childcare versus going to work, even if minimum wage was $15 an hour, versus staying at home and getting on state benefits, dude. You can't make more going to work. It's not working that way. By the time you pay the child care bill, and now we're paying $5 a gallon in gas, it's probably paying you more not to work.
Yeah.
Now, if everything was backed up a little bit, I think that there's ways to go about it. But good grief! If I made the conscious decision to take out a student loan and go to college, my kid's going to go to college next year. Are they going to pay for his, or the kid who just got done paying off his student loans? Does he get taken? There's no fairness to the system at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well,
we're just taking away the incentive to work. There's always going to be, the more people that don't work, they create a segment of the population who gets louder and louder, and they keep crying for more and more, and they're going to get it. They become a political tool to secure that voting part of the segment to make sure they keep getting what they need. And
yeah,
I don't know what the right answer is anymore.
Well, you're ruining a country in the process of this shit.
Yeah. It was your dream to come here to start a business and carve out your future and buy a home and start a family? Or is your dream to come here and be given 0% interest and 20 grand credit with GM to get a car if you're new here, and if you can fog up a mirror, automatically you cut the line to go to college? It's gotten to where, like, my kids, they're going to school, studying their ass off. They go every day. They don't get in legal problems with the law, things like that. And they're going to apply for college, and they may or may not get in. Where there are segments of this population who, if they can fog up a mirror and they had a C average, by default, they'll get accepted before my kids will, just because of whatever demographic they are a part of. And
that's true. That's true, man.
It's not working, man.
It's a shame. It's just.
Hey, let me tell you all this. My brother, he went to Southeastern University in Louisiana. He had a 3.9 grade average, and he was not accepted into any medical school around. People with worse that didn't look like him, they were.
Well, Ben, it's the true issue really isn't race. It's really come down to the broken families and people having kids who aren't equipped or educated well enough to be parents or understand what it takes to be a parent. These single parent families, I hate to say it, but that is, in my mind, the core of it. Because if I was to go out here in South Dakota to the res and speak to students, what I would tell them is, if you want to go to college for free and have and write your own ticket of success in life, here's what you have to do here on the res. You have to show up to school every day.
Yeah.
You have to maintain a C average.
Yeah.
And don't get arrested. If you can do those three things as a Native American in South Dakota, you will have a full ride to college. You won't pay for it. The problem is they can't. because they live in an environment of meth and all this stuff that has plagued that community. And the answer isn't giving them more shit for free. We need real help here. If I had a single mom with 2 kids that you said, how can we help her? Let's send her to college and give her free daycare. Like the college has if I'm going to be in government, I would rather underwrite the free daycare for her to go to college, go to classes all day, know her kids are well taken care of, give her benefits while she's doing that 4 years of school, get her out, get her on her feet to where she's making an income, and she can unhook herself from that need now. But we don't have plans to unhook people from needs. All we do is give them just enough to get to next week, and they don't better their situations.
Nope.
And that's why it keeps getting worse.
But then, they just keep on. I mean, how do people not work? I don't even understand that. Maybe you can help me understand that shit, Jeff. How do people not have to work?
Well, I get there's disability issues. I get, but the problem is when the basic decision that I'm going to stay home rather than go to work, I think a lot of people, it's easy to say, well, they're just lazy. I don't know if that's the case. If we put pen to paper and say, what are the economic benefits of going to work for $15 an hour with gas prices where they are, childcare costs where they're at, versus going to work 40 hours a week, versus staying home and getting EBT benefits, getting government housing, getting all of that. I don't get to where I don't think it's too easy to say they're just lazy anymore. I mean, they're actually choosing the more. It's the easier route, but it's also
not the right route.
More financially beneficial route for the hole they're in. I think that real answers to the problems are that we stop looking at color and we stop looking at things like that.
Right.
We need what we need. I don't care what state you're in. I don't care what color you are. I don't care. What we need to do is go in and say, what do we need to do to fix this problem permanently? Now, if I give you 5 years of assistance, and maybe I even increase the assistance you're getting right now, I'll give you 25% more, but it's going to contain an education plan or a community college plan, learn a trade plan. It's going to be something to where in 5-6 years you can unhook yourself and the taxpayer doesn't have to keep paying you for your whole life. But we don't come up with plans like that. That's the problem.
Yeah.
As long as people are in need of the government to babysit them and take care of them, they will always vote the direction that benefits that.
And that's what the government.
That is where we've just arrived at.
That's what they want right now.
There is a literal gravy train. There's a literal gravy train at the ballot box now. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't want to talk politics of it, but if we're talking about real ways to fix it involve getting people unhooked from the need for it.
Yeah, but they're not gonna ever do that when they're given things like you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So,
hey,
Stevie.
Hello.
So I don't want to bring it about politics, man. You want to change this around?
Well, I kind of wanted to say something. That's why I jumped on. Jeff.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Jeff,
ma'am.
the one thing you didn't mention, or maybe hadn't considered, most people that lost their jobs during the shutdown, the COVID shutdown.
Yeah.
They all clocked that unemployment. That unemployment, they realized, was paying them more than they were making more money sitting at home on unemployment.
Sure.
And all the jobs that people lost, And for how long? It wasn't like a week or so. You're talking months.
Yeah.
You know, it got
Yes,
too
man.
easy. They made it too easy for people to sit home and not work.
But I
Well,
mean,
they
but
made
that,
them realize what benefits are there, or what I should say, what resources are there. Okay, like when COVID came along, a lot of people entered the EBT program for the first time in their lives, right?
Right.
And a lot of them realized what's it like to get. Maybe I've always worked with a disability and never cared about it, but now all of a sudden I'm like, hey, if I can get paid for it, I'm going to go get rated by a doctor, get a disability check.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of people who fell into understanding what do these resources look like, and once they started receiving them, now we're talking about a lot of people who in service-oriented businesses like restaurants and bars, you know, the first places to close down, right?
yep,
You don't need to have a college education to work.
nope.
You need to have a good personality and a magnetic charisma in a lot of those
Absolutely.
places, but you don't need 4 years of college.
I have literally watched the county that I live and work in. I've watched over 17 years. I've watched them go from you had to have a degree to you didn't have to have a degree. Then they went back to having a degree for about 6 years, and then now they're hiring anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, for a long time, I think what happened is people got on this on the COVID. They were forced to get on the COVID train, couldn't work, stayed at home, forced to get on programs they've never been on before, never ever thought they'd ever need before.
Exactly.
And now they're getting them, and they're saying, I can't go back to work for $18 an hour.
Yeah.
That doesn't beat what I'm getting now. I can't even go back to work for $25 now. I need $28.50 an hour to break even where I live. And all of a sudden they're realizing, dude, you don't have a college education. Nobody's going to pay you $30 an hour to come in and work now. But we created an environment to where they see that pen and paper saying, then don't go back. Because you can't. That's what you'd need to go back and be better than where you're at.
And Stevie, you agree with him?
What's that?
You agree with that?
Well, that was kind of what my point was. Is that you get more comfortable making more money if you don't go back. You know,
wow.
a lot of people are falling in that category.
Yeah, they get they get used to that way of living. They're living, beyond their means, or once that runs out, they're beyond their means, and they, like you said, they get comfortable doing that.
Yep.
I knew a kid who got out of the military, applied for college. He had military funding. He had a college program that was going to pay for part of his education. Part of it he was going to have to either take out loans for or pay himself. Pretty big university. I mean, it was a state university. And they told him, they were going through all these different programs. Like, have you ever done this? Are your parents this? Are all this stuff, right? And he realized that in this particular state, they had a deal where if one of your parents were a Vietnam veteran, you went to college for free. In the state of Alabama, if your dad was a Vietnam veteran, you can go to a state college for free.
Yep. It was
and there's a few states that were like that, but Alabama was probably the most well known for it.
Virginia was like that too.
There were senators saying more states should consider doing this, whatever. But here's what it came down to. As they were going through this list of things that would qualify him for grants or whatnot, they asked him, have you ever been incarcerated? And he said no. And he missed out on a grant for that. Meaning, had he committed a crime and went to jail, he could have got another 20% off of his education for showing that he's bouncing back. And I'm like, what?
Wow. Yeah, that was on the GI Bill. Virginia had the same thing.
I saw it looked like somebody might have popped up backstage and then disappeared. I'm sorry if I missed you. Feel free to pop back on. I will post that link again.
Boy, I bet you are just sick of seeing me, huh?
Not at all.
But Jeff, I've said it a lot lately. I'm so glad my girls are grown and it's a different time. If I was raising my kids now, I
Ooh,
don't know how anybody does it, honestly. I mean,
No.
Well,
getting tough.
Richie Evans brings up a good point. He said, as an iron worker, I make over $60 an hour.
yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I told both of my sons, one of my sons wants to go into the Air Force Academy and fly jets, and the other one thinks he wants to be an engineer or something like that and go to school, go to college. And I said, listen, when you rack up an engineer, you could probably make pretty good money. When you look at the $150,000 in student debt you'll have from student loans in college, you're going to work for free for the first couple of years. You're not going to pay all of your salary to it. So for the first 5 to 10 years, you're going to be giving away 20% of your salary paying off that debt.
Yep.
My father, who was a hunting and fishing guide, said, Jeff, you ought to buy your kid a $50,000 truck and a $70,000 Ranger boat and turn him loose on the tournament trail. He can make more money fishing than he can going to fucking college. And there isn't a whole lot of non-truth to that. What Richie's saying is I could send my kids to a community college for $5,000 a year for 2 years to learn how to weld, and they can come out and make $60 an hour. I could send a kid to learn a trade. You want to go learn HVAC and plumbing?
Yeah.
Get out and
well,
borrow $100,000 to buy a truck and start your own plumbing business in the town that I live in. You could make $250,000 a year.
Absolutely.
Literally. If you want to work 60 hours a week as a plumber, HVAC guy, you could make $250,000 a year doing that right now.
Yeah, you're right.
Why would anybody? We need to teach these, and that's what I'm saying. We don't need to send people to college to unhook them.
They need the trades.
Well, they're starting it in high schools. I know in Virginia, before I moved to Florida, they had trade schools. They had plumbing, electrical, and AC, HVAC.
Well, here's an idea.
The student would do their general education classes in the morning, and then lunchtime they would bus them to the other school where they worked on their trade. So by the time they graduated high school, they could have their certification in whatever field they chose.
Well, let me ask you this. If you or I or Moj or anybody owned a business that was locally owned and involved a trade, whether it's a plumbing business or an AC business, appliance repair, whatever, maybe you make trailers. I know there's a couple of locally owned trailer manufacturing places that build flatbed trailers, things like that. If you owned a business like that and you employed 10 or 12 people, by definition, you're probably not rich, but you're probably making $300,000 or $400,000 a year. I mean, you're getting there, right? Rather than the IRS or the government stomping my PP in the dirt, saying you're going to pay more in taxes, you're going to have to. I'm going to force you to give them benefits that I already give them, but you want to crank them up even more. Why not tell me, hey, I'll give you a break on your taxes if you will train 2 people that trade for free. We'll bring them in there on a 2-year program, and you teach them to do what you do. And in the end, if you want to hire them, great. But you're going to employ them at whatever rate now. And we're going to give you a break in your taxes to teach them that trade. We don't need even community colleges. We have successful trade businesses out there that if you give them a break on their taxes, they will take those people in and teach them to do what they do. And those people now can go on and not need that government assistance. And overall, you'll save more money than just a little bit of the break on the taxes you offered the dude with the trade business to begin with. It's smart. It's smart money here. It's fixing real problems for long term. But I haven't heard anybody propose a program like that. We're saying let's pay off student debt. Why don't we incentivize businesses to teach trades to people?
I agree because I'm sure, I know what you do, what you've done for a living, but I'm sure you know how to work with your hands.
Yeah. Now,
Well,
I'm going to have
it's
to
like
announce that I'm
automotive.
running for president at the end of the show here
There you
based
go.
on this platform.
Jeffro for president.
No, I'm not. If I ran for president, my main platform would be all these scammer calls that you get from
Oh my God.
Kandahar and
You'd
all
get
these
all the
other
votes if you just said that.
India.
I'd
My
vote for you.
platform would be, once we identify a building that's calling the U.S. trying to scam our citizens out of business, we will bomb it and turn it into a Walmart parking lot.
There you go.
Every time. If I find
vote
out
for
where one of them call centers are, we will bomb the shit out of it. And just on that alone, you could probably win a race for president in this country.
Yep.
Because everybody, Democrats, Republicans, doesn't matter who you are, gets 5 to 10 of them calls a day. It drives you insane.
I hate it. I cannot stand it. You block a
That
call,
one's
the
got a
number
point. We
comes
can
up.
talk about this all day, but nothing will change.
No.
She's right. Sadly.
The only way it would change is a complete reset of every elected position. Everybody's out of office, and we start tomorrow with an election and we refill them. Because you could go and replace half the politicians there. You aren't going to weed out the ones that run the whole show. I mean, the under the table, you can't break through. You'll never go against that program.
Behind the scenes.
Yep. So far behind the scenes, nobody sees them, but they're there.
Even a non-political president. And, it's not, Trump from the right. You could take a celebrity with no political experience, somebody far left, put him in, who came in and said, we're going to get rid of all this with good intentions. This is, we're going to strip out all these bad apples and start all over. Let true representation be there for the people. Hell, they wouldn't make it work either. I mean, it's not a left or right thing. It's if you come there thinking you're going to expose the truth and start and change something for the greater, you're never going to do it, man.
No.
Hey, can I change the subject?
Sure.
Yes, please.
What's up,
Hey,
Wally?
Paul.
Don't like apples, like watermelons better.
Wow. Okay. How many of y'all on here believe that Dogman is a thing?
I believe other people believe it.
Yeah, I really do.
I'm on the fence about that one. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I just think that there's things out there. So it could be possible. If you believe in Bigfoot, or if you believe in aliens, or if you believe in anything, how can you dismiss something else? Yeah.
But aliens are a given,
No,
they're
but my
aliens.
point is, how can you dismiss? You can't really dismiss it. I don't know that there is. I can't say that
Well,
I
let
believe
me
in it,
ask
but
you this,
right.
Ben.
I don't dismiss it either.
I'm not someone who tries to. I'm chasing the flesh and blood at this point. That's kind of what I try to do in research until I have a belief that I'm chasing something that is capable of something more than that.
Yeah,
but
I get
if
that.
you believe in aliens, which I believe that there's aliens,
I do. There's no
how
way
do we know that there aren't some aliens that look like Dogman?
Right.
And
Or
are
look
able
like
to stand
Bigfoot.
land here. And if they can, I mean,
But
the problem is this. You're asking me if I believe in Dogman based on a reference of data that exists on Earth by earthly. If I went by earthly definition, taking into consideration everything, evolution, what animals have mated with other animals successfully, the recessive traits, dominant traits, how
you would have
animals
to say
evolved and how they devolved out of different things.
Right. You would have to say no. Right.
I would have to look at Dogman and say, I don't get where, from a gene-wise, DNA-wise, breeding-wise, how you could run across it. It's not possible.
Exactly. But dude,
yet, if I saw an
Well, you can't
alien
say
with
it's
a
not
head
possible.
4 times bigger than its body, I might say, I didn't think that was possible. Now I'm looking at an alien with a head 4 times bigger.
You can't say it's not possible.
Yeah, that's true. So,
I mean,
Jeff, you believe in
Dogman
aliens?
is just a rebranding of werewolf.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I think.
No, it's not. It's really not, because a werewolf is supposed to be a human that turns into.
It could be an evolved.
But you're keeping that whole
Yeah.
humanoid wolf thing alive. It's
No,
I think you've got to look back in history. If we look back centuries upon centuries upon centuries, we start realizing that there's architecture that's 7-8 centuries old that is going to depict gargoyles and things, and you're going to say, where did they get that?
Where did that come
to
from?
Create that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Was it from a physical reference or was it from an imaginative reference? I mean, where did this come about? And we don't know those answers.
They all really look the same, the way they are depicted on these like Parisian monuments and shit. They do look the same.
Yeah.
So
you don't see a lot of too many different type of gargoyles, do you? I'm sure there are. And
no.
No, they're generally all the same.
But I've never seen a statue one that on the bottom where whoever carved it said, by the way, this thing's real. Why didn't they just carve that in there if they've seen one?
Oh, by the way, this thing's fake. I mean,
I had a dream about this thing last night. Thought I'd carve one.
Last night?
No,
I'm saying whoever carved it. But I dreamt about this creature last night, so I carved it, and we made a couple hundred of them and put them on a whole shitload of buildings. Italy.
Notre Dame Cathedral. Yeah. So, man, I don't know. I'm just asking what y'all think. So, do you think that the whole? You said like you think Bigfoot is just straight up flesh and blood, right?
I don't know that. I pursue it as a flesh and blood creature. I try to research it with that in mind, knowing that I believe that orbs are real. I believe they're a real phenomena. I believe that aliens are likely real and are a real phenomena. But
what the
how does Bigfoot cross into that? I don't know.
What's up with what? Ben?
The orbs, bro.
The orbs.
Yeah.
I think there's a bunch of different kinds of orbs.
I do too. I think there's
spirit orbs.
Right.
Have any of you guys read what is it called? Skinwalkers in the Pentagon?
No.
It's a book.
Never heard of it.
Man, like wow. The blue orbs seem to do harm to people. And
I saw blue and it didn't harm.
Really?
Did no harm.
But are you basing that on Ben? Are you basing that on what you read in the book?
Yeah, you can't believe everything you read. I mean, it could be. I've heard stories, especially in relation to Skinwalker Ranch, where their incident, blue orbs did harm, but that you can't put that all in one category.
Well, it's bigger than you just can't believe what you read. I mean, it's an example of how one author, or one person, or one source,
one direction
can, on a big front, propose a theory that people start subscribing to as fact. And I know this is crazy, but the movie E.T. was a good example of that. When we had in the 70s Close Encounters and all these different movies that came out, right? There's a lot of people who kind of open their mind up to, hey, man, maybe aliens are real. They haven't seen UFOs. They've never seen an alien, but they open their mind up thinking maybe. And then E.T. came along. And I would say in 1 month, the amount of people who believed that UFOs were real probably increased 30% from a movie.
Is that much? 30?
People watched it and said, it could happen maybe. Right? I mean, they still haven't seen one. They don't have any evidence.
But, Jeff, you got to think, too, there are the people that were sitting there watching those movies and saying, I saw something just like that.
I'm not saying there aren't. That's why I say, when I say 30%, there's 70% that maybe fall into that category, Stevie.
And people start talking more once they see movies like that.
But my point is one person can create a nonfiction book or whatever and say what I could write a book on Bigfoot theories.
All right, cool.
It's
Like,
and say,
influential.
I
Yeah.
believe Bigfoot is capable of this. And maybe nobody really pays attention to it. But if Jeff Meldrum writes that book or Doug Hychek writes that
It's
book, holy shit,
influential.
it became
Yeah.
fact overnight for some people.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just a theory. So
you're right.
I
You're
think
right.
we need to not only be open-minded, but we need to be guarded in where we probably
Where
put
we
some
find
of
our
that.
resources of information.
Hey, Jerry.
Well, and you know, you can't make speculation your fact. You can't, you know.
It's true.
Well, you
I've
can't
seen
turn
I've seen it done.
you can't turn speculation into your story, you know,
Oh,
or
yeah.
what you
How many
know for fact. You can't call it for fact just based on what you read or
Exactly.
How many people over here, like on this, right now, have seen a UFO?
I have. Well,
I have.
I can't say that's what I mean. I don't know what it was, so I guess
Yeah,
yeah,
but
it's a UFO, unidentified. flying
that's the
object.
irony of it, Stevie.
I know, right?
Saying, I saw one, but I don't know if that's what it was. Well, that's because it's
That's exactly what it is.
right?
Yeah. No, I have a couple times in my life.
I haven't. I've
Times, actually.
I've had friends that have seen them, but I haven't
I
seen
told the
it.
story
you've
where I was
seen
sitting on the beach
something-
and the thing flew over top my head.
Mhm.
You know, I damn near fell out of the chair with my tablet recording it, and I get one little second of you see a shape of a triangle, and you see the three lights on each corner.
If
They
you've
got-
seen something that wasn't on the water or on the ground, and you can't attribute it to aircraft, a natural living thing like a bird,
Right.
or
bird.
a satellite, or something that man has made that to actually traverse through the air. If you've seen something that falls outside of those parameters, you've seen a UFO by definition. I mean,
That's why I laughed. I said by definition, I have several times. I saw.
I have a quick
I've seen a few beer bottles fly over my head. Does that count?
Well, how you
Jay,
doing, guys?
you've never seen a UFO?
And so was throwing them.
what's crazy is if you saw in the distance a radio tower that all the lights were out on except the top one. And you're looking at it and you don't recognize that as a radio tower. You're just seeing that one light and it's not moving and it's playing tricks on your eyes. At that moment, you personally are seeing a UFO because you can't identify what it is.
You're right.
Well,
you're
no,
right.
you could say that about what is it? What was it, Jay? Texas or no? You'll know where you're riding through at night and you see the windmills, the light from the turbine, wind turbine.
Yeah.
And you get to that one point where there's nothing but hundreds of them in every direction. You know, you get somebody that's not familiar with what the hell that is. You know, that could be a hell of an experience.
You can't believe how many windmills we saw from Oklahoma to Texas.
Yep.
Oh, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them.
It was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Don't worry, man. Anyway, you know what? I have a theory. I think that a Bigfoot is a type of alien. Really.
Maybe.
I think
What is the strongest data that you've experienced that supports that theory?
I really don't have any data that I've collected, but I've heard different stories, and I've listened to a lot of accounts, and that led me to where I am right now.
I believe there's a connection. I think there's a connection.
Who says they're just not getting abducted? Like, they're getting abducted too,
Right. There's a connection somewhere there. I believe.
You hear stories of, UFOs, and the next thing you know, there's a Bigfoot sighting, or there's a Bigfoot sighting, and there's a UFO sighting. You hear a lot of that stuff.
I just realized what Jay's name is on here. God dang it, Jay.
What did he write? I can't see it.
Jeff dreams about me. When I came into the chat tonight, I said, "Hey, Mogs, hey, chat," and Mr. Lee says, "Hi, Jeff," with a set of red lips after it. And I said,
Yeah.
Mr. Lee, get those lips off of me.
He's kissing your ass.
Well, the reason why I asked Ben what you've experienced that supports that theory is just to let you know, when I see things like in the field, like last year when I saw things, trying to figure out how did that get moved from there to there, right? And I start going through 4 or 5 different explanations that maybe are far-fetched, but could explain how something like that, like from a stork picking it up and hanging it, right? Something crazy. And then I look at, out of these 5 options or A, B, C, D, or E choices, I look at the 1 or 2 and say, man, that's a stretch. Those are the least likely, right? And then I narrow it down to 2 or 3. And then out of them, it's a little bit easier to look at it and say, what's the most plausible? What makes the most sense? What could likely be? What would seem most likely? And then I find that one, and now all the further research that I do as I see stuff associated with that, I'm not trying to support it and prove that one. I'm also trying to shoot it down in flames and disprove it. If I'm being fair. So when you say, well, I think Bigfoot could have an alien connection, I'm kind of curious as to all the things that you've experienced that would make you think that, and then do we work to support that theory only, or do we also work to shoot it down?
Have you heard of Stan Gordon?
I haven't, no.
You haven't?
Sounds familiar.
Quick point, please.
Go ahead.
Last week I was in chat and I want to tell you guys a funny story. So, I got thrown out of my house by my wife, and I meet this super cool chick. So I take her to see Men at Work, Rick Springfield, and Tommy Two-Tone. So she's like, yeah, Mr. 8675309. I'm like, yeah, you're going to get an autograph and a picture with him, right? So I'm like, yeah, cool. So
That's Jenny's number. That's Jenny's number.
What, it ain't? Jenny's actually in the car, and she hit me in the mouth. I went with Karen and got slapped by fucking Jenny. So, now I need dental work, and he needs a new tuning bag. You can't make this shit up, kids.
So is there a second date? Or?
You can.
Yeah.
I shared with you, I got attacked by a gang of mimes, right? I was like, oh my God, they did unspeakable things to me.
A gang of what?
Mimes.
Mimes.
That note, kid, it's good to see you all. I'm still alive. Love you. See
Oh,
ya.
mimes. Oh, wow.
Mimes, yes.
Mimes.
Wow.
They did unspeakable things.
Definitely got it now, and I know why they did unspeakable things to him. Yep, definitely.
Catherine's like, that was random.
I know, and I've been sitting there laughing the whole time.
Bat Mom's like, does Polly ever tell honest stories?
Oh my goodness.
But,
hopefully some of you laughed.
yeah.
Most people know that as soon as Polly starts talking, you're just waiting for the punchline. And it may take a little bit to get there, but...
And then sometimes you worry.
Yeah, you kind of hold your breath the whole time.
I notice I get darker every time he's on from holding my breath.
Sometimes he stops and the punchline didn't come.
Really deliver.
When the punchline comes, then you can relax.
Yeah.
So Ben, you asked about Stan Gordon. What was your what'd you want to bring up?
So that was a UFO flap in Pennsylvania in, I think, the 70s. And there was a bunch of Bigfoot over there, too. And they did coincide with each other. They had Bigfoot at the same time that they had UFOs. But, man, I don't know. I'm just asking what you think.
I think it's easier to prove that aliens or UFOs are real than it is Bigfoot. I think it's easier to prove that ghosts or haunted places are real than Bigfoot. I think it's easier to prove that orbs are a real phenomenon than it is to prove that Bigfoot is. And I think the reason why all of those are easier to prove is their number one goal doesn't seem to be trying to be elusive and undiscovered. That is a key deal there.
Seen and discovered, right?
Bigfoot realizes that if it's discovered, that its ability to survive is likely diminished greatly. And so the way I'd mentioned this on my show the other night, I teach my kids how to fish. I teach my kids how to tie their shoes. I teach my kids how to whatever, you know. The only thing Bigfoot teaches its kids is how to be elusive. That's it. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's what they pass on. Yeah. How to survive and not be found. Yep. How not to get caught. How not to be trapped. That's it. And, you know, it's the same thing that when you ask, do I think they have or do we think they have an alien connection? When people look at how did Bigfoot move from A to B, like 100 feet. I saw it there and then it was there. How did it get there? I don't get it. I didn't hear it. That was a big thing with my encounter. I didn't hear it move 40 yards. I don't get how it moved with no wind, no nothing. I could hear you snap from 200 yards away in that wet, still air. And I did not hear it make any noise.
Jeff, you almost question yourself. Did you blink? You know?
Well, even if I did, it couldn't have moved that far. Right. But my point is this, it's the easiest answer would be to say it has some supernatural ability to go from A to B. And that, I'm not saying it doesn't. Trust me, I'm not saying that it doesn't. It may have that ability. But I've also seen guys who are in the 2nd Ranger Battalion for 14 years be able to move a football field's distance in the middle of the day in heavy cover, and you can sit there with binoculars and you can't find them. Right. You don't hear them. You don't see them because that's all they do. Yep. 24 hours a day, they train to do that kind of shit. They aren't your typical Army recruit. That's all they do. And it could just be that Bigfoot being in the woods 24 hours a day, 7 days a week
have mastered it.
It gets that freaking good from moving to A to B without making any beyond what I could even comprehend. So, until I see something that proves to me that that's not true, I have to subscribe to that theory before I say, well, there's some supernatural explanation to it that I don't understand, But I'm not saying there can't be.
True. Ben, in case you need the link again, or anybody needs a link, it's there in chat.
Have you noticed that all these researchers, they all do the same thing?
Meaning?
Well, they all go out into the woods. They all traipse around with their cameras and their IRs and all that fancy equipment. And they bring back nothing.
Well, I believe all you got to do is just sit there. I mean,
Jay, that's precisely why when me and Doug designed the research,
you eliminated every
is we looked at everything that everybody's doing that isn't producing results, and we said, if we got rid of all of it, what would you have left? The ability to set objects out to collect DNA. Let's not worry about the picture. Let's not worry about the video, the audio. Let's not worry about IR. Let's not worry about whether it's light or dark. Let's try to leverage its curiosity and leave things that it would interact with. And that's it. Because I think you are on to something. Instead of looking at what everybody's doing and say, I'm going to go try that too, let's look at the results they're getting and saying, is there something... It may be that the tool they're using is right, but they're not using it correctly.
Well, it's like what Moog said before, thinking outside of the box. Why are researchers or people that are out there searching, if they're even just, curious, why not go back to 35 millimeter film You know,
Sure.
there's no result. You don't see people talking about that. It's all digital, like you said, the IR, the thermal, all that stuff.
Well, back in the day, old 35 millimeter. I know Icon used to come in the chat a lot. They still make it. You can buy it online. IR film, 35 millimeter film. It's IR film. You can put it in a 35 non-battery operated mechanical camera and use IR film.
Yep.
But sometimes it's not just the tools they're using. It's, are they using them incorrectly?
Right.
The fact that those tools are deterrents, it seems to be for Bigfoot, maybe you could use that to your advantage. Meaning, I've always thought of, if you gave me any given area, if Jay brought me into his area and said, hey, look, here, this is a squatchy 10 acres here, right? I'm going to look at, whether it's 50 acres, 100 acres, and I'm going to say, just like if I was archery hunting deer and never been there before, where is it most likely to get water? Where is it most likely to get food? And C, where is it most likely to bed down? Once you figure out where it eats, where it drinks, and where it sleeps at, you can create those A, B, and C corridors that it's going to travel from A to B to C at some point. And if you take cameras for, let's say, a 100-foot stretch, and you set up game cameras facing away from each other, 5 of them in lines on trees, but their backs are creating a 10-yard wide corridor.
Yeah.
Nothing wants to walk in front of the camera except deer and bear and all the shit we get pictures of. The stuff we can't seem to get pictures of might walk up that corridor, and you've actually created a safe zone for it to move through that area. Why not do that and now focus whatever research, whether it's DNA collection or even setting up a camera trap lengthwise at the end of that to catch, or whatever. Make it so that corridor is in a non-canopied area where you could fly a drone over it at night.
Funnel it in. You're funneling it in,
Well, you're
setting up a trap.
Yeah, you're giving it the preferred option of, if it's trying to be undetectable, you've created. It's just like if you were going to set a snare out in the woods, you would take dead limbs and set them around the snare so that if something's running, it ain't going to run through that log. It ain't going to run through that. Oh, here's a little clearing. I'm going to run through there, and that's where you have your snare at. It's like you've closed off other options on purpose to steer it into that bottleneck.
So, Jeff, it's flesh and blood, right?
I don't know that it's flesh and blood. I pursue it as if
where do the footprints come from? Where does, structures, everything that everybody's referencing to them, there's got to be some type of physical something out there making a difference. And,
you're definitely right.
Let me ask you this. If it has the ability to slip through a portal or somehow physically disappear from one area, then why, when I walk into that area, does it try so hard to get me to do one thing, and that's to leave?
Leave. Yep.
It wants you to leave. That's the only reason why they're knocking to their others in their clans is, there's something here. I don't like that it's here. The other one's knocking, saying, we don't see it, or whatever they're saying back. But they're communicating because you're there. You've set off a red flag, and they want you to leave. And whether that's vocalizations or they keep ramping it up, maybe they show themselves.
Well, that's what they did with you, is they ramped it up.
Tree break.
And I see that in a lot of people who explain their encounters. It sounds like it's a rant, like, man, at first I heard something weird. Well, then this happened, and then that happened.
They didn't take the hint.
It's their version of a bluff charge.
Yeah, it's going to, pretty soon it's going to put a horn in you if you don't leave. So if it's a buffalo or something like that, why would this animal, if it had the option of saying, abracadabra, I'm gone, why would it bother trying to make me leave? Why doesn't it just slip through the portal and then come back when I'm gone?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I mean, that would be my main
Well, you have to
argument
consider
against
thinking with that. You have to think that maybe they can only do that at certain times. You know,
maybe, you know, when
Dude,
I try to be open-minded to those other ideas, Stevie, when people talk about portals, I can't prove portals don't exist. Maybe they do. But when I heard people talking about orbs, and sometimes they're associated with Bigfoot sightings, and then I would say that for every Bigfoot sighting that they've seen orbs around, I can give you 3 sightings that they haven't.
have you
Right.
seen an orb?
But maybe if you think about if a portal was real, okay, I'm just opening my mind up as far as I can open it. If a portal was real, meaning you could emerge into this room by going through that portal wherever you were, and boom, you bleed off and you're physically present in this room. The amount of energy that would transfer and physically bleed off
that it would take the amount of energy that it would take to just create the portal.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, a scientist hasn't been able to say, here, I built this little circle that when I stick my finger through it, you'll see it disappears, right? I mean, nobody's been able to do that yet. So until they can, it's hard for me to say I believe they're real. But if something bled off or went through a portal and appeared in this room with me, maybe those orbs that you sometimes see is the energy bleeding off as they become present, or they jump into that portal and go from a physical presence to non-existent.
I've heard stories
bleeding off energy. Maybe those are what you're seeing with orbs.
But I've heard stories of people that say that they see faces in them. You know, sometimes.
I don't know.
I've heard several actually.
Yeah, I think.
Hey, Jeff, I'm just kind of bouncing ideas off of you, brother. You know, I don't
Jay,
really
what
know.
were you gonna say?
I got 2 theories on it. And I think the only time that there's a possible chance to see them is when they're so enthralled into a hunt that they're liable to come by a person.
They slip up.
Right. Because when they're in, just like any other animal, any other predator, they get so enthralled in the hunt. Yeah. That's all they're thinking about.
And I've seen that in other predators.
Well, that's what happened to pretty much what happened
to Joe.
And Jeff and myself. That's what happened pretty much to all 3 of us.
But not just with Bigfoot, Jay. You've seen it in other predators doing it.
Right, absolutely.
I've seen a mountain lion that I walked up on in a tree line, and it scared the living shit out of me when this thing realized I was there. This thing 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000 times should have known I was coming or smelt me or seen me way before it did.
Yeah.
But it had been who knows how many hours into a stalk on 3 does that were next to a water hole. And it was just laser focused on them. And when I got close, it saw them and it didn't run away. Normally a mountain lion sees a human, it runs like hell. They're afraid. It didn't because it was so vested in stalking those. It was like, God damn it, those are mine. Right. I've been working to get this close to them.
Right.
And I think you're onto something there with Bigfoot. I think that probably is something we see with predators. It could be with them.
And because
how many encounters have you heard of that where people have walked up on it? Whatever they saw, they just walked up on it.
It involves other animals or a dead animal.
Right.
And the second one is, I do believe that they're inquisitive. I think they think humans are.
We're their TV.
Right, we're their TV. And I think they make the mistake of getting too close, or they might have a small one that makes a mistake. You know what I'm saying? I think that's our really only, or there could be a third one in a migration. I might be wrong. I could be here.
I mean, I believe that there's families that
I believe they migrate. I believe they follow their food source. And I think maybe in their migratory movement, they could cross open areas, because they would have to at times cross open areas, and that could be the third chance of being sighted.
Well, I think that humans are the only animal that they ever come in contact that doesn't have a predictable nature. I talked about that before too, is that imagine if you're a Bigfoot, whether you live in the green swamp in Florida or whether you live in Alberta, doesn't matter. No matter how remote you are, or if you're on the fringe of society, all the animals that you see, when you see a deer, when you're a Bigfoot and you see a deer, all the deer you make eye contact with will always probably react pretty much the same way. Yep. Every wolf that you come in contact with will act the same way. Wolves in a group will act differently. And you understand that when you see a group of them, they're braver in a group than they are on their own. You start recognizing how every living thing out there reacts to you. And yet humans all react.
You don't know what you're going to get.
Some of them shit their pants and scream like a baby, and others run towards them.
Right.
It's
but
like,
I think too, somehow, Jeff, I think they know intent though. It's just like, a dog sensing whether a stranger is good or bad.
I would agree, Steve, but I think that their curiosity
absolutely outweighs that.
Is motivated by the fact that there is such a variance that exists in how humans react to things.
Yeah, you're right.
That's what makes it. You're right. If I'm Bigfoot and I see you walking through the woods from 1,000 yards away, way before you see me, if I was to, like you say, Steve, if I was to be able to size you up and sense that you had bad intent, I may just elusively slip backwards. You never knew I was there.
Yep.
If I don't sense that, now I'm kind of curious, and I may let you keep walking towards me before I leave. And if you show me that despite the fact that I've clicked or I've done a wood knock, and you still seem to be unaware, like you're just walking along like it never happened, now you've really piqued my curiosity. Now I might look out from behind that tree at you a little bit longer than I would have.
Or get a little better, closer view.
Their weakest link would have to be that curiosity. And the more you can act unenthralled by whatever they do, the more you're playing mind, like you're making them go, I got to figure this guy out. What's going on?
So imagine Jay and I under a truck all day digging. Me with my legs, they're probably thinking, what the fuck? I mean, I don't know what it was. We still don't know. But yeah, I tend to 100% agree with that, Jeff. If you don't make noise, you don't act like they're a threat. If you're not scared out of your mind, if you're just oblivious to it, that's when they get sloppy in a sense. They let their guard down.
Sloppy all the time. Who are you kidding?
Yeah.
So Jeff.
Catherine says, "Who put the quarter in Jeff?"
Yeah, we gotta take the quarter.
I want to know where they put it.
I got an idea.
And where do you get a refund?
And do you really want the quarter back?
No.
Jeff, what do you really think they are, man?
What do you think they are, Jay?
What do I think they are?
That was a deflection and a half.
Yeah, really, huh?
I'm giving the quarter to Jay. I'm giving Jay the quarter.
We'll get back to
Tell you the truth, I really don't know.
All right, Jeff. Now,
I really have no clue.
I was thinking Pinecone holding Pine Island, but hey, what the hell do I know? Yeah, Sasquatch Sam told me all about them.
All I know, the one I saw years ago had a lot of human features to it. That's all.
What do you think, Jeff?
I think that the one that I saw is real, and I can tell you it's either a real flesh and blood bipedal capable of reaching the height that I seen it at, 9.5, 10 foot tall, in excess of 1,000 pounds. Or if, and I don't know, I believe that is something that maybe evolved alongside us or in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
So there
So what-
could be, so there's part human DNA
What end
possibly
of
in that.
what is your belief, Jeff, and what end of is it do you lean on? Is it more animal or more human?
Well, I was just going to say, it's either
Thank
part
you.
human DNA and part, something that evolved in front of us, or it's simply a human that is.
I mean, I'm asking from what you saw.
Or
from what you,
I'm telling you from what I saw.
okay, so I'm sorry.
What I saw
answer.
could be two things. It could be a part human, part other DNA of something that probably should have gone extinct before what we thought it did. Or maybe we weren't even aware of that strain of evolution has occurred, or that arm of it had occurred. Or I'm looking at a human that quite simply got out of its niche. And maybe that has happened in many different geographical places. And that same glitch has occurred over and over.
You know, one thing we haven't thought of, it could be a creature that's self-evolving too.
It could be, Jay. Good point.
Yeah, it could be.
How do you
I guess
explain the lack of physical any bones or anything like that?
I believe they're
think
careful.
that's probably one of the easiest things to explain. But
Okay.
to get back to that niche thing, just to tell you, if we found the lake in Canada that Doug Hychek was on, and we caught a lake trout that was 6 foot long and weighed 90 pounds, and you sat there and said, dude, those things aren't supposed to be able to get over 48 inches long, and the world record is 56 pounds or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. But that can't be a lake trout because they can't get that big. Well, they can't based on what we know.
So
but we've shown that animals can get out of their environment in a niche and evolve into something like that.
Okay, that's not really exactly on point.
Well, then you got to consider too that each year scientists, explorers, whatever you want to call them, researchers, there's new species that are of animals that are discovered every year.
Yes,
that have
ma'am.
never been found, never been seen.
Yes,
I think
ma'am.
there was
They do.
3 or 4 last year.
Hey, guys.
If thousands of years ago, literally thousands and thousands of years ago, a human or some humans got out of that niche to where they developed a gene or some type of mutation to where they got bigger than the rest of them. Just like dwarfs or little people at some point got to be smaller than what you would recognize a human to be. Or guys like Andre the Giant, or these guys that had those types of genes to be that much bigger. Right?
That makes sense to me.
So my point is, if thousands of years ago that happened, and now we're talking about humans that don't live in homes or hotels, and they don't eat at McDonald's, they hunt for their food. They're out in the cold. They don't have shoes. They might develop thighs that look like 5-gallon buckets through generation after generation after generation. They adapt to their surroundings, and it could still be a human that got out of its niche, so to speak.
Well,
I don't know. I'm just saying, I think that's just as possible as saying they showed up here on a UFO or anything else,
Well, you see a lot of pictures. You hear people talk about the more human side, the ones that they've encountered that look human, and you hear a lot of reference to cavemen. It looked like a caveman.
Yeah. Well, you're right, Jeff. You're right.
One of those cases that if you said, let's make a list of 10 possibilities here, and we're going to eliminate the far-fetched ones and say which one seems to be most plausible. The one I just explained, a human getting out of its niche, and then that reoccurring over and over, that's probably in my top 2 or 3 out of the 10 we could rack our brains to come up with.
So with that, Jeff, you would find fossil evidence, right?
I don't know if you would or not.
Well, bring facts.
They don't I would. Here's a theory that I'm just going to propose to you, Ben, and I don't.
They're a living fossil, basically, and they're burying their own, is what I think.
That
I think
now,
so,
this what I'm going to say leads that, Mogs. You know, we have people as humans who are close to us. You know, our parents, our kids. We show them a lot of reverence when we bury them and have funerals.
Mm-hmm.
If you talk about deer and all these different animals out there, one dies, their life goes on 10 minutes later, literally. Okay. But when you have something that can think and has human DNA in it, and they exist in clans, and those clans need each other badly in order to survive, meaning one is, depending on the age group, maybe is a sentinel, certain ones are hunters, certain ones are family, protectors of the family, the nurturers. That clan is made up of different roles, and they work as a group. And when one dies, it's not far-fetched to think that they show enough reverence for each other because of how they've lived their whole life needing that person to stand sentinel while I go hunt that deer, or to protect that young while I do this. They need each other so badly in these clans in order to survive, which is their number one goal.
You can apply that concept to prides of lions or elephants.
Or, you know,
orangutans.
It may even get down to where, and I know this is crazy, maybe they eat each other. Maybe, so that nobody will find them and desecrate them. Maybe they bury each other so nobody will find them and desecrate them.
Good point.
You know, I don't know.
Good point. Good point.
Hey, guys, I interject some seriousness because I never bring this to the table. But I want to say that if you have a chance to check out hieroglyphics from Egypt, right? While they're building the pyramids, there are UFOs in the skies. This is documented long before any of our asses were on the planet. We weren't even Daddy's eye back then. You know what I mean? And one thing, if Rob Schneider was here right now and he saw a female Sasquatch, would he say, "That's a big bitch"?
Yeah.
My role as jackass, and this Burrow's going to leave Dodge.
Get along, little Burrow.
Matt Damon's going to warrant with my name on it, Moogie.
I think the short answer to why don't we find fossils is related somehow to reverence that they show for each other.
They protect each other.
Well, and knowing that, you know, if they leave evidence behind, their species, they're endangering themselves. So,
well, if they learn to be that elusive from keeping themselves from us discovering them, they're going to go to every length, every extent to make sure that there's nothing to find, one way or another. I think we can all agree.
You're right. So, he raised a good point. Who do y'all think made the pyramids?
Well, I think that there's one of the points he made is that there were UFOs in the sky. Now that by account or whatever, I mean, I don't know that we can factually prove that.
Some of the hieroglyphics look like
there is things in the sky. Yeah.
I can tell you that through the work that we were doing on the
I can guarantee there are UFOs, bro.
The Blood Run documentary involved hieroglyphics that the Native Americans here in South Dakota had made by digging out areas of large trenches, 8 foot wide, 6 foot deep, hundreds of yards long, that were in a shape the size of several football fields next to each other.
Yeah.
And if you look at the hundreds of years of work it took just to make that one hieroglyphic that we've happened to have uncovered and found, who knows how many there are.
So what else?
You would look at it and say, I can't even see what it is from the ground, Ben. I can't stand at any point in that and tell what this is.
Right.
But you get a mile in the sky. That's the only way you could have viewed it. Now, there's some argument that doesn't mean that there's UFOs there. It could be that they built that in reverence to their gods.
Constellations and,
saying to their God, we're showing homage to what you provide for us on this land by making this thing that's so big that we can't enjoy it, but we've done it for you.
So one thing that's intrigued me, and I just heard it recently, History Channel, I think, has a documentary where they're starting to talk about how music and the rhythmic energy that comes from it, they're beginning to discover that you can move items, you can move things, and they're trying to apply that concept to moving, big boulders, and how the pyramids were built. There's scientists that have actually moved objects. They not to the extent of moving something huge yet, but they're looking into it, and it's another thought of could that be possible?
Well, there's got to be some dynamic energy fuel, so to speak. The way to move energy, the energy to move objects that we have not discovered yet, and clearly have no range of ability to understand it at this point, because that's the only thing that can explain interstellar space travel and things like that. You can't fill up a tank with something,
right?
At least nothing that we have here,
right?
As a resource here.
You are right.
They're saying that I guess the waves, the energy waves that music produces, they've discovered it actually creates patterns in the rhythmic.
Well, they've shown that you can see videos that have with sand that will show like squares, and then as they change it, those squares change shape.
Right. So they're saying applying that concept and taking it to the next level of being able to move things, using it as an energy source.
The problem is it gets back to the whole what drives science discussion. 200 years ago, we all stand on a cliff and say, I wonder what kind of fish are in that river down there. We spend a couple months walking our ass down there, catching fish, figuring out what kind of fish in there.
That's what I do.
Our curiosity drove science, and man's curiosity doesn't drive science anymore. It's driven by money and agendas.
Oh, absolutely.
And if
money and power.
The powers that be don't want you to understand what that energy is capable of, they're going to say we're studying it, but we can't figure it out.
Okay, so going back to what you were saying with Bigfoot, think of this, okay? Look at the percentage of our brain that we use, that we were equipped to use, that we know of.
Mm-hmm.
What's to say a Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it, has more use of their brainwaves than we do? And what is it that produces or provides for them? What can they do with that?
I think it just has a better recognition of how to use it. It spends a lot less time being stimulated by culture and movies and music and.
Oh no, they're not distracted.
No, not at all. But what if they were created with, say, a larger percentage of their brain use than humans?
Well, if you look at things, the gifts that maybe Susie has, or gifts that other, people who say they can remote view, people who say that they can heal people, people who say they can do.
Y'all believe in that?
It could be that every human is equipped with that. It's just most people don't understand how to access that.
Right, exactly. Certain people, I think, are gifted with certain abilities, and some people are gifted and it's not able to understand it or be able to use it to its fullest extent. But imagine what a Bigfoot could do with, their abilities that we couldn't even wrap our heads around,
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. So y'all believe in like everybody's like certain people's abilities to heal and remote view and stuff like that?
Hold on a second, Ben. Right before you started talking, Jay wanted to ask something here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize.
He was holding his finger up. What's up, Jay?
Well, I'll just finish up on the Bigfoot thing. Was how these things live in the woods 24 hours a day, 365 days for years and years and years. Just think about that son of a bitch that killed that girl and out in, I think it was Colorado. And then he was from Florida, and he went missing in the woods for 3 months. And we're talking about, I think he did have some survivalist He knew a little bit about survivalists, but
Yeah,
we couldn't even find that human being.
you're right.
And we wonder why that we can't find these things. You know,
Dude, with all this technology we have, I mean,
Well,
really,
you got to consider too, and this is where, that whole conversation could turn a different direction. But think about the government and what they know.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He's talking about Gabby Petito and
yeah. They
Well,
couldn't even find that dude.
Let me ask you this. My kindergarten brain keeps arriving to this problem that I can't solve, and that's that somehow in the 1960s, us human beings said, look at the moon, wouldn't it be cool to go there? And we got there. I mean, science was capable of that with the limited technology they had then. So now when we arrived at what we have now, Stevie, when I hear stuff like, hey, scientists, they're trying to figure out how we can use sound vibration to move things, or we say
figured it out.
we're trying to figure. I'm telling you what,
It's
whatever
already,
science wants to figure out,
They've
it
already
can
figured
figure
it
out right
Yep.
now. It's cancer.
sure.
There's a cure for
Sure.
it.
Oh,
You're
of
an
course.
idiot if you think there isn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All of
Yeah, you're right.
Diabetes,
All of
money in
everything.
it.
Right, Stevie.
It's a
Yeah.
shame.
Yep, I agree. I mean, when I first had my very first partial amputation in my left foot, as soon as I came out of the surgery, that next morning they put me in the hyperbaric chamber. It's 100% pure oxygen. I was there for 2 hours. I would take an hour break and go back for 2 more hours, 4 hours a day for 10 days. I sat in a bubble, basically. I laid in a bubble for 2 hours. The progression of my healing, I had to actually eat something that was high in carbs and raise my blood sugar before I was even allowed to go in there, because it drastically reduces your blood sugar. So why in the hell are they not using that for diabetics? It regulated everything. I mean, and progressed my healing. I actually have a picture, a photo journal per se. I took pictures every day just to keep track of the progression. And even I was stunned of how quickly, I had a skin graft. I had, a third of my foot is gone, and it healed so fast just by 100% oxygen for 4 hours a day. Imagine how many people can be helped with that. And it's so expensive. I think then that was 5-6 years ago. Then it was $7,000 for an hour, 7 to 10 grand an hour. It's ridiculous that it's not available to everyone.
Yeah.
It's not a cure, I don't believe, but my God, people that are, really in a state of their worst health, put them in an oxygen tank in a chamber for a couple hours.
Look at diabetes. I mean,
that's a joke,
insulin is one of the most digested.
And I say that, I'm sorry, let me correct myself, because I don't want people to freak out. I say that because I've been around it most of my life. I've been around people that are diabetic. I was considered diabetic for 2 years. When my gallbladder was taken out, they found a stone pressed against my pancreas, bruised my pancreas. And I don't know if anybody knows, but your pancreas doesn't heal. It never heals. It will regulate itself. It'll adapt, but it never heals. So I went almost 2.5 years being treated as a type 1 and type 2 diabetic.
I have diabetes. I've had diabetes almost my whole life. And I can tell you that insulin should cost about $2 for a vial of insulin.
It only costs like $1.25 per vial, I think, for manufacturers.
But my point is if you're not insured, you're going to pay about a lot.
Well, that's why a lot of people, a high percentage of Americans don't get treated because they can't afford the insulin.
The problem is you still need a prescription for it. You shouldn't. If you've been diagnosed as diabetic, I don't need to see a doctor to tell me I need insulin. Guess what? I know I'm a diabetic. I should buy it like aspirin.
Yes.
Right.
Okay?
Right. You are right.
It's like Soul Asylum had it right. Frustrated Incorporated will create the cure and then make the disease.
Well, I said
that's what the government's done over and over and over.
I said it's a joke because I look at it as a joke towards the government and how even physicians, not everybody's diabetic. Type 2 diabetes is totally different from type 1. And I find that most people aren't educated. So you trust your doctors, you go by their word, and then you go on medications that are maybe not necessary, that you might be able to change by changing your lifestyle. This is where I say it's a joke, because I think that it goes back to the whole money thing. Look how much they overprice everything in regards to diabetes.
This is a
That's all it is,
Medtronic
baby.
diabetic
That's
pump.
all it is.
You know how much this Medtronic diabetic pump costs if you needed a diabetic pump? $9,500.
Yep.
You know how much my fucking smartphone costs? $900. This thing is literally 1/100th of the technology of this.
Yep.
All this is, you open this up, there's a little vial of insulin in there, and there's a little motorized pump that moves upward that pushes insulin through the tube in your body. So instead of taking 3 or 4 shots a day, it just does it automatically.
Yeah.
The technology in this is archaic.
Yep.
Yet it's $9,000 for a freaking insulin pump. That's what they charge your insurance company. If I wasn't insured, that's what I'd have to pay cash to get one. Yet I can walk in and get a free, they'll give me a free cell phone if I'll just sign up on their plan. How?
Well, it's just like the cost of my prosthetics. I was blown away. I mean, you look at, it's almost like, you buy a car and now you see cars all over the place that are same exact car. You see it everywhere. I see so many people in prosthetics. I see people that I've actually seen people that are still waiting for prosthetics or haven't gotten them yet because their insurance isn't covering it, or, they're going through the bureaucratic bullshit of paperwork and this and that. But then you look at the cost of them.
Cover that?
You look at the cost
almost
of the
every veteran who needs a prosthetic goes to groups of veterans, their brothers and sisters, and there are bought prosthetics, people paying cash from their brothers and sisters who served with them, because the government don't give a shit.
No, and it's a simple fix. I mean, I know it costs for the materials, but it just seems that it's something that everybody should be provided.
Shit, I can go into a CNC shop and have them laser cut a kick-ass freaking skull crossbones looking die cut prosthetic blade that's affixed with a foot on it, and they could probably, with the right upholstery guy, get it to match my freaking stump perfectly in a weekend. And I could probably pay them with a couple cases of beer if they care about me.
3D printers. I've read an article where 3D printers, this guy had one, started making prosthetic arms for kids that had lost their arms. And it's a process. It takes forever to make one. But I mean, the machine itself, you can't obtain it. An average person can't obtain it, but it just seems like it's a simple fix. That the materials are out there.
But the
resources are there, but they're just not available to.
The corporations don't get paid for it. Then.
Exactly. It's all
Pfizer can't get a buck out of it. If Johnson & Johnson don't get their cut, then the senators won't get their cuts. And if the senators don't get their cuts, then the commissions that they're part of don't get their cuts. It's all connected.
And if there's not enough cut, then it ain't worth it, and they just kick it aside.
Yeah,
it's not.
The truth is I used to think that what if the cure for cancer was like, remember the movie Medicine Man had Sean Connery in it?
Flower in the jungle.
They found it was that little beetle or whatever that was in that tree in that rainforest, and they were going to plow the rainforest over, and they're like, oh God, we got to figure this. Anyways. What if the cure for it was such a rarity that now all of a sudden we can't make enough of it? There's no synthetic way to make it. And because of the supply and demand, now only the richest are going to get it. And, so it'd be better off not to release it, which I would say in that case probably would be the best case until you figure out how to make it accessible to everybody.
Yeah,
but that's not the case. The cures are always synthetically driven. The cures are always able to be replicated in labs.
Always
and
a way.
The only reason why they don't release it, is because
they're not getting a
the
profit
patent
off of it.
isn't held by the right company. Those people aren't in. We could make more money if we wait till we get that patent to expire, and then these guys pick. There's something always going on in the mix.
You have companies that will monopolize, things like the EpiPens. That whole thing with the EpiPen. One company out of the whole country made EpiPens, and all of a sudden, there's a shortage because what? They're not getting the cut that they wanted or demanded. And
when
then
I was
the EpiPen is
diabetic
so
and
expensive that no one can get them.
When I was diabetic, Novolog came out with the little one-click pen to do your stuff. It was so cool because think about this.
Those, actually.
If I ever get stopped for a speeding ticket or rolling through a stop sign or going into a concert and I walk through a metal detector, I say, hey, I'm diabetic. They look at that pen and say, oh, yeah, sure you are. No problem. Go ahead. I walk in with a little bag and I've got 3 syringes in it.
Oh, yeah. Your question. I had that happen to me going into Universal Studios.
If I can't show them my doctor's prescription.
Yep, something with a prescription on it. You have, because then otherwise they're looking at you that you're a druggie or, you're an addict. It's paraphernalia. Yeah. I mean, you have to go to the pharmacy and have a prescription to get needles. If you're diabetic, it's just, to me, it's ridiculous. Yeah, go to them to get it, but to have to, it's something that you need every month, just along with the insulin, if you're getting the vials of insulin. So those basic materials should be available to everybody.
I think they make it so difficult. How the money drives everything. The agendas drive everything. It isn't human need. It isn't what's best for the world.
Greed.
It's not.
It is complete greed. It's disgusting. I'm sorry.
And for people to think there's perimeters on that greed, like when people say, well, why would the government not want people to use it? Well, why would the government not want people to know there's a cure for cancer? Why would the government not want people to know you can make a car run on water?
Water, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
We've seen it over and over where the government's displayed their ability to not want something to be released.
They make it go away.
Jay said something about they're not, like, doctors aren't giving out pain meds anymore. He said, had a friend cut a 9-inch gash really deep in his arm, really deep yesterday, went to the ER, sewed him up, sent him home, no pain meds. He said he could not sleep a wink last night from the pain.
Yeah, I think that's I think a lot of that is not so much the doctors. Doctors have their hands tied so much now. It's a lot of that is insurance. And a lot of that is depending on the state that you're in, they have their own guidelines they're placing on.
It's so heavily regulated since that whole epidemic of,
It came so far because, 10 years ago, if I had, well, I should say 15 years ago, if I had a really invasive surgery done, they would give you, let's say they start you on Vicodin, and you go home and that night you get nauseous and they come back and say, well, let's try Darvocet, or let's try Percocet, or let's try Oxy, whatever.
Yeah, it goes
and it was a hit and miss, right? They'd figure out what one works.
Yeah, but by that time your body's so dependent on it that
then you become addicted. You could only take it for about 3 weeks, and then your body would get used to it.
10 days.
Put on a different one.
10 days.
Now they have it. Now they have it to where I can go into a doctor. If I need that kind of medicine, they can run a test on me and tell right now, out of all those possibilities of pain prescriptions, which one will my body actually do best with?
Yes, my daughter had
this. Won't make you nauseous. They know right out of the gate. So you'd think they'd gotten better at it, but now they've gotten to where insurance companies are telling doctors, we aren't going to cover it if you prescribe them that. Because they get hooked on it and this and that. And insurance companies don't want to get sued. If I'm an insurance company and I tell a doctor it's okay for you to prescribe whatever to this guy, and you prescribe it to him, and 30 days later he should quit taking it, and he can't quit taking it because he's addicted, guess what? That dumbass lawyer's up and sues who? Not the doctor. He sues the insurance company.
Yeah.
So now the insurance company is saying, we'd rather not, just don't give him anything. Give him Tylenol. I mean,
it takes a body 10 days. It only takes 10 days for a body to get physically addicted to
and
narcotics.
it only takes 10 days to get off of it too. The problem is you can't get off of it in 10
No, because
days.
they don't provide that service of helping you get off
No.
it. They just send
I
you off
took-
and wish you well. You know,
I took
Look.
Vicodin, Darvocet, Percocet over a 4-month period of needing pain pills. Couldn't get off of them when I wanted to get off them. When the doctor said, "Hey, you can just take Tylenol now, we should be good," I couldn't. I would quit for 3 or 4 days, and I'd be going about insane. And I'd wake up 3 in the morning, it felt like spiders were crawling over my whole body. And it felt like that the 3rd day, the 5th day, and all I had to do is take one pill and it'd go away. Everything felt normal again.
That's it. Just get
And
that
so
one
I
pill.
probably quit for 3 to 7 days, probably 10 times. And I'd just be like, I can't take it anymore. I'd take one pill and it'd feel okay again. Finally, my uncle said, "Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, I promise this is true. On the 10th day, if you can stay out for 10th day, you'll wake up that 10th or 11th day. It'll felt like somebody switched your light switch back on."
Well,
so I just endured it. I just endured it. And on like the 11th day, I didn't feel like I had anything wrong. I didn't feel the need to take it. But people can't get through that 10-day duration without losing their mind. You go 3-4 nights and don't sleep a wink.
Well, it's
You'll
not
take
not,
anything at that point.
Jeff, it's not just the not sleeping. It physically makes you sick when you're withdrawing from any amount of narcotics. It physically makes you sick. So most people will go and take that extra pill just to not feel that horrible, like you said, skin crawling feeling of anxiety that the withdrawal instills on you. I mean, it's a horrible thing. I went through it. I had 13 surgeries on my one foot and 3 years of pain pills until finally I had to get off it. I didn't want it. My body was physically addicted to it. And let me tell you, that was the worst thing that I've ever gone through in my life. Let me finish. That was the worst night. The first night was the worst night of my life ever. The worst pain, the worst anxiety. I mean, it was horrible, horrible withdrawal. I always relate it to the movie. Leonardo DiCaprio did a movie when he was young called The Basketball Diaries.
Mm-hmm.
And he portrays, they show where he's trying to get clean from, I think it was crack or coke or something, but he went through about 2-3 nights of just absolute, you get sick. It's a sickness. And if it's so severe, it could kill you. You need to medically withdraw off of narcotics, and our medical system does not provide that as a service for any type of long-term treatment.
Well,
I don't want to be on that
companies,
shit.
I believe.
Well, I mean, it's a different time too. That when I went through it, that was what 20 years ago. Yeah. Easily 20 years ago. And I won't. When I went through my amputation, I'm so against narcotics. I fought them on what they were giving me on pain pills and IV. They told me I couldn't go to the rehab center unless I was off of the IV medications for at least 24 hours. I said, take it out right now.
But this is what doesn't make sense.
I didn't want it to begin with.
An insurance company will say, well, we'll approve a $50,000 to $100,000 neurosurgery on you.
But see, when you have good insurance like I do, I'm not bragging, but I'm saying when, 17 years of working for a local government, I have damn good insurance. And there was no resistance on any type of treatment as long as the doctor referred it or recommended it. So here they were, I was in the emergency room and I heard here I'm half, my body's shutting down. I'm damn near deaf, but I remember hearing the doctor say, I'm going to bring, I've prescribed some fentanyl. And I was like, no, hell no, I don't want it. She looked at me like I was crazy. And I'm like, no, don't give me that shit. I didn't want it. I really didn't. And I kind of fought them the whole process. But like I said, if you have the insurance and it's not a question of how it's going to get paid for, it's just, freely available. It's so easy for the doctors to push people into being addicted. And in my case, that's what happened.
Well, I'm going to finish saying what I was saying now. When I had neurosurgery done, it was probably $100,000 procedure or more. Had 2 vertebrae in my neck fused together and had to take all these different pain meds every couple of weeks, switch me from one to the other for months. And when the doctor was done, my point is the insurance company said, well, let's make him take 3 different spinal injections for pain for steroids, see if we can fix it that way. When the doctor said this ain't going to fix it, this is too damaged. But the insurance company says, well, we won't pay for neurosurgery until you at least go through those motions.
Oh yeah.
So we went a month and a half taking every 2 weeks injections, knowing they wouldn't work. Then the insurance company said, we'll cover the $100,000 worth of neurosurgery. Then they'll cover all the pain meds and follow-up visits. What wouldn't the insurance company cover? $150 for a prescription to get me off the pain meds without side effects?
Exactly.
Does that make any sense?
No, not at all. And it, I went the next 2 years of the side effects of the withdrawal of, I wasn't healthy. I wasn't healthy at all. And the medication that I needed to help me out, that was non-narcotic. It was a prescription, a medication that's easily provided for other ailments, but they found to help, people in my situation. It could have allowed me to be more functional than I was. And insurance would not cover it. I was paying, way back then, I was paying $50 a month, $54.50 a month. Mm-hmm. For and any other prescription I'll get free or most $10 on my insurance, my copay, but this one medication that would help me, I could have recovered physically. I mean, probably in half the time at least that it took. I was denied for insurance. That was the only medication, like you said, that insurance wouldn't pay. It's the one medication that would actually help me get off of all that junk and help me get healthy again. So I had to pay out of pocket for it.
Well, if they can get you hooked on it, then they don't care if you're getting it from the doctor off the street. Somebody's paying for it.
Yeah,
the pharmaceutical company's still making the money on it.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd be surprised at what people on the street with addictions are paying for a pill right now.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I had a friend of mine come over to my house. We were having a football party, watching football, and he went and used my bathroom, and he said, I was looking for some air freshener. I opened your drawer up. He says, God, I picked the wrong drawer. He says, you got it full of prescriptions. This was right after I had this surgery. I said, yeah, when I had that surgery last year, they kept switching me from this pain med to that pain med. And I'd always have, 50 of these left or whatever. Yeah. I ended up having literally probably 350 different pills.
You had
every kind of pain med in a drawer.
And you said, pharmacy.
He said, you know how much I can sell those for? And I said, how much? He says, I can sell one of those Darvocets for like $150.
Yep.
Damn.
I was like, that's what somebody will pay you for one of them? For 6 hours of, it's crazy.
It is.
Well, guys, we've been at this 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it was a fun conversation.
It was a good conversation, for sure.
I like when Ben starts asking questions. They're like firing tennis balls at you, and you don't have a racket, right?
I think if Ben's still here.
I know.
I think Ben's still
he
here.
hasn't been saying it. Oh, did we lose him?
He'd say, "What do you think this is? What do you think this is?" And he kept switching like from subject to subject. He's like,
he just wants to keep the questions rolling. I appreciate it.
And he does. We bite. We take the bite.
Absolutely. He knows what you're passionate about.
Yeah, and he has his own curiosities as well. He's very inquisitive.
Jen said, "Okay, someone unplug Jeff now." Yeah, we're gonna unplug everybody.
I'll say good night,
thanks for coming out, Jeff. It was good talking to you.
Yeah, it was nice seeing
or
you too.
Listening to you.
You too, Stevie. You guys have a good rest of your week.
Good to see you, Jeff.
All right.
That was cool.
Ugh. I look up and we're at 2:30. I'm like, oh shit.
I can't see it. It's so small. I'm on my phone.
No, it's okay.
But that's cool. It was a good show. Oh, shit.
All right.
I hung up.
Nope, but I am going to put you backstage.
All right. Good night, everybody.
I'll talk to you in a minute.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Well, guys, another Thursday night in the books. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It's great to see everybody that popped on the show. Jay, Ben, Derek, thanks for coming on. Jeff, Stevie, Paulie, That's what it's about. It's you guys, we all hang out together, so you might as well, I'd love to see more people come on, different people. Hopefully in time. But yeah, thank you, everybody. If you enjoyed the show, please hit that like button below. If you have any comments, please leave them. And we will see you next Tuesday. So you guys have an amazing weekend. I know I'll see you before Tuesday. So, all right, guys. Thanks again. Be safe out there. Peace and God bless.